Hello to the chicos and the chicas, second leg of the journey, supported and paid for, or rather I should say sponsored by the legendary Mo. Shout out to Mo. This is Inside My Head, and today we are playing a significantly higher rated opponent than last time. In fact, it was intentional by me to try to spread a little bit the difficulty level and to also cover various levels. So this is now going to be a Sicilian against Hot Shot Jelly, aka Fat Belly Matt Kelly. He is a very keen supporter of the stream, and I am actually recording this on stream now, so this is going to be some high level excitement going on. Big time. On the menu is the Sicilian, and the Sicilian Classical. Very interesting choice by my opponent. I happen to know this gentleman a little bit, and I know that he's a very keen attacker and a rather aggressive player. And in that regard, I would like to mention right away that the 4 Knights Classical is a suboptimal opening. Definitely wouldn't be my first choice for someone who loves initiative, who is dying for attack. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that I turned off the follow alerts. And yet here we are. So we are still in the land of theory. Oh, I forgot to save it. That may be it. Okay, we are good now. So this is main line 4 Knights Classical. Castles F4 is the theoretical path. As for what opening choice would I recommend to someone who is as viciously aggressive as Hot Shots Jelly, aka Fat Belly Matt Kelly? Well, Dragon, definitely a very good choice. Naidov, quite a solid choice. And the Sveshnikov, for sure. Because the Sveshnikov is almost the only Sicilian in which black hardly ever gets attacked. And so that is by default a really good choice for all those people who are really keen on playing aggressive attacking chess. So we are waiting for castles as the main move here. A6 is also a theoretical line. We're going to chuck F4 in. It is almost always the correct way to play. Now I'm forgetting my theory here a little bit. Knight d4, queen d4, b5, bishop takes f6 would have taken us back to that very old main line that was popularized in the 90s, and there were a few very famous games played for it. Kasparov Hracek comes to mind. Now, with bishop d7, we are transposing back into the variation that Sam Shankland recommends in his chessable course. And I have a vague memory that knight f3 is the correct move here, but I always get messed up a little bit in this. The idea of knight f3 is to disallow black to trade this off and then play bishop c6, which is a beautiful and very common way of consolidating in the 4 Knight Classical with black, because this piece formation is a little bit, whoa, jammed in. Thank you for the raid. That was TBA. Listen here. Can I ask one of my mods to send a shout out? Thanks, buddy. So, it is always wise. And in fact, there are a few other variations in the Sicilian, most notably the bishop e to Scheveningen, where we drop the knight back to b3 in order to avoid this knight trade, followed by the bishop c6 maneuver, which allows black a perfect piece layout. So yeah, knight f3 serves that purpose. Having said that, it's almost always with mixed feelings that we voluntarily retreat like that from the center. Now, I do remember my own games where I played here bishop d3, b5, rook e1, and I got yelled at by the engine that it's not good. The only problem is that I don't remember what is good instead. Queen e1 makes sense, with the idea of pushing for e5. So let's see that. Queen e1, b5, e5, b4. That's always the test of the pudding. And if I take f6, they take back. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much about that, maybe. Yeah, queen e1 is definitely an interesting move here. I used to play bishop d3. But b5, rook e1, and then b4 is hitting too soon. Yeah, let's go queen e1. I want to test this out. So now e5 is definitely pending. If h6 you can pull back, that's no biggie. So the only question is b5, e5, and then b4. And if I take gf takes back, knight e4, then fg, let's say d5, knight f6 check, bishop takes, pawn takes, and then queen f4 check picks off the pawn. Yeah, I'm not excited about that. One more time. b5, e5, ooh. What? That looks terrible. Isn't e5 just winning now? Wait, what? e5, take, knight d5, knight d5, bishop g5, knight g5, ed. Okay, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. And if bishop d3, then h6. This feels really, really wonky for black. One more time. e5 takes, knight d5. Knight takes d5. Bishop takes g5 check. Knight takes ed back. I mean, rook d5 there wins a pawn, but I don't like that position. I have a plan B here, by the way, which is queen h4. But what do we do after h6? Do we have take, queen takes? I think we do. Knight g4? Okay, I have a cute plan. Let's go queen h4. I don't know how sound it is, but I'm playing a bit of a psychological chess here, which is quite curious, by the way, because once again, I know my opponent. And I already told you that he really likes attacking. And generally speaking, people who have got a good knack for attack, they hate defending. And usually, they overestimate the power of an oncoming attack. It's a very common psychological defect of aggressive players who attack really well, that not only are they very reluctant to defend, but they tend to do it badly because they overestimate the power of the oncoming attack. So I'm not saying queen h4 is bad. I also don't know how good it is. I don't think that after h6 bishop takes h6 is good, because I don't see what I have there after take knight g4. The plan after h6 is I just simply wanted to play bishop d3, and if it takes, I take back with the knight. And I might not even have an imminent threat there, but it just looks like a very long-term, super annoying pressure that I don't easily see how black can get out of. And e5 is constantly hanging in the air, and then there will be lots of this bishop h7 checks coming in, a potential rook lift can come in. So that's concerning. If he ignores it, e5 takes. Yeah, e5 is not yet a threat. So maybe bishop d3, e5 is what I'm going to do now. Does that mean that they overestimate their own attacks too? Yes and no, but they tend to be more realistic, in my experience at least, in evaluating their own attacks than that of their opponents. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to get into some red hot chaos. Red hot chaos. I very much respect what he did there, because he must have calculated a lot of bishop takes h6 and came to the conclusion that it was not winning by force. So I just played bishop d3. Now after takes, I plan to take with the knight and just stand there basically. And he is disengaging. Interesting. Oh boy. Okay, so now after knight d5, knight d5, e d5. Isn't that like almost winning for us by force? Okay, so knight d5, knight d5, e d5, hg is mate. So knight d5, knight d5, e d5 has to be made by bishop takes. Then I take with the pawn. The knight is hanging and knight b4 is not on because queen takes b4. That is a visualization that a lot of people would fail to correctly see, that the fourth rank has been completely emptied out. The only test, funnily enough, after knight d5 is hg5. But that's not a test because knight d5 and queen hangs and mate is on. Okay, so I think we are on the verge of a win. Yeah, I do think knight d5 wins on the spot. So now we are going to double check. And by the way, that was also an interesting thing to note, that he played h6 with utmost care. And then he played e5 almost instantly. That is a very, very, very questionable way of managing your time. Because bishop d3 announced a long-term piece sacrifice. He didn't even bother looking at accepting it. And he also didn't even bother looking into investigating what was the best way to deal with the oncoming e5 threat. He just lunged forward. What was his time? I can't see the time usage on his end. Anyway, so knight d5, one more time. If hg, knight g, knight can't take because of mate. Queen moves, I take f6 followed by mate. If knight d5, e d5, hg, it's mate on h7 because the bishop's diagonal is open. Bishop takes, pawn takes, the knight is hanging. It's going to go to e7. I take on h6 and we have got an overwhelming attack. Game over. Let's go. And it seems like I didn't miss too much in the stream either in terms of chat and questions and answers. So if knight e, d, knight b4, then I can just pick off a free piece. c2 is covered, so the bishop on d3 is really well placed in this regard. I didn't look at queen moves here, but obviously f6 is hanging, e7 is on. Maybe queen d8 doesn't immediately fall apart, but it's a supremely ugly move. Actually, now that I say it, I don't see a forced win there. Okay. Queen d8, I didn't see a forced win. I think this is resignable. Yeah, I do think that this is resignable. So, like I said, bishop takes seems only, pawn takes back, and that cuts off the knight on the fourth rank. No knight b4 is available. It's all over Red Rover. Yeah, this is looking neat. This is looking neat. I love it when calculated lines play out. I did talk about it in previous Inside My Head editions, that the greatest reward you can get for calculating, and calculating well and accurately, is that the lines you calculated are getting played out. And so, not that you are not getting caught unaware, but in fact it almost looks like you saw the future. It almost feels like you have an unfair edge on them because you already knew that this was coming and you have the response on the ready. That is the greatest reward and the greatest feeling in chess in terms of, you know, good calculation. Like, I called this vacant fourth rank 5 hours ago when I started calculating knight d5, and now he just blundered into it. Not that he had a lot to do, but like, you do see how satisfying this can get. Queen e4 or h4 are our two choices. e4, geez, yeah, I prefer this actually, funnily. Okay, so yeah, these are the last wiggles before resignation, I suppose. So queen takes g6. I would really want to take that thing. Takes, check, king h8, check, king g8 back. But there after g6 he has bishop f5, which defends the mate and creates a mate threat down here. So as much as I hate to say this, I need to respect that a little. Just play this. Well, we're definitely going to take. One way to do it is queen h6 and then just h4, h5. So queen h4 is going to play rook c8. And if I play h4, he's going to play bishop f5. I'm still not giving up on the idea of takes, by the way. No, please don't bother me now with challenges. Check, check, king here. It's very hard for me to accept that there is no forced win here. Queen here, king here. Yeah, okay, I will just go here. I will need to speed things up a little bit now, unfortunately, which is going to come at the expense of quality. But not a lot we can do that. So rook c8 is the move I'm anticipating. h4, bishop f5. For which reason, after rook here, by the way, I might play knight d2. With the idea of bishop f5, knight e4. Yep. Alternatively, now I have knight h4 ideas as well. He's gonna go bishop b5. Knight takes g6, pawn takes, queen takes, and again, I don't quite have the mate. No, I can't take this. Okay, this is the most frustrating move for him to deal with because that secures the c2 square. And now none of the cheap tactics like bishop here trying to decoy the bishop are going to work. And now I can just figure out whether it's going to be h4, h5, or bishop takes g6, or rook f1 first. Yeah. So a4. I'm just going to stop that now because it's annoying. He's going to play b5, and that's the one that is going to prove to be too slow. So then I can start killing it. But I feel like I'm missing here forced wins. Extra credit to me for predicting the correct move, or predicting the move that was played. So h4, b4, h5, take, 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 king b1 is mate. h4, bishop g4, h5, bishop takes h5, rook h5, gh5, bishop check, king f8, h8, excuse me. Bishop f5 check, king g8, queen check, king here, queen check, king here, queen check. That's a bit of a messy one. I'm sure it wins though, so we are going to go with this. And he's gonna play b4. Guaranteed. Nope. Alright, let's go. Now we'll need to do some extra calc. After bishop takes, rook takes, takes. Maybe queen check, he check, he check. King e8, and then just pawn g6 is gonna cut it. Actually, there's knight h4, knight f5 here too that I completely missed. Yeah, that's very neat. Yeah, let's just do this. It's looking like a very annoying operation. Note that the queen is completely glued to the 7th rank. Because if it, for example, goes to c5 with the idea of counterplay down here, then I have the standard mate pattern with bishop check, queen mate. And so he's stuck now with what to do. He's going to play an f-pawn move to open up the 7th rank. But yeah, the attack is just cracking through. Still knight f5, knight e7, I guess, is the cleanest path. Yeah, so queen d5, knight e7 wins the queen. And now we just want the queen on the discover check. Right, okay. Am I happy with this? Not at all. I feel like I missed a fair few things. So let's have a look at the game analysis function of .com, or rather the game review. 87. One blunder. We made one blunder and we had one miss. So yeah, it definitely wasn't as clean as I would have liked it. But hey, it happens. As soon as your opponents are a little bit higher rated, obviously there are more challenging things to face. Ooh, wait, I didn't do that. Yo, go back. Go back. I did not do that. Bishop d3 was apparently a mistake. Okay, so let's go. F4, all good. Book. No, queen c7 is a mistake here according to the engine. And queen e1 was a miss. What is my move? Wait, we had e5 there. Oh my god, I'm a donkey. I had e5 here, I bet. D, F, E, 95, queen e5, bishop. Oh man. Ah, yes. Okay. This is when your brain refuses to think because you are still in theory mode, and that's what I was guilty of. I thought that this was theory. I guess the move is h6. But what is theory then after bishop h4? I'm curious about this now. Oh, then rook c8. Oh, I get it. So the difference is that the bishop on h4 is not sufficiently guarded. So if I play e5, take, knight d5, I can't take this. I can, but it's not great because they take h4. And so I need to take this when the knight is guarding the knight and black is fine here. That's clever. That is very clever. And we missed here a kindergarten win basically by e5. And after take, yeah, black is just busted here. Because they can't take e5 twice. They have to go knight d5. I take. I guess. Although queen d5 is recommended by the machine here, but bishop e6 and both bishop e6 and bishop f5 concern me a little bit with some kind of a counterplay. I would much rather play here take and queen g5, tickling these guys, allowing my knight to come to the d4, bishop to d3. Yeah, this looks to me smarter. Okay, so queen e1 was yuck. Castles was okay. Queen h4 was best. But after h6, which was a mistake. Okay, so we misjudged this whole story altogether. Because apparently h6 was a mistake and I should have taken it. Wow. Okay, so let's see what I missed here. I thought that take and then knight g4 was a total pain. And apparently queen h3 is the move. And of course knight f2 loses to queen g3 check. I just didn't realize that after knight f6 back, we had something substantial here, which according to the machine we do, because it's queen g3 check, king h8, and then knight g5. And the attack is slowly rebuilding with check and then going after the knight. Okay, that I find very instructive. Yeah, black is busted here. I completely misevaluated this. After knight g4, I did not see this queen h3, queen g3 idea. That was quite remarkable. I did see that everything else would look okay for me here, including knight h7. There is h4 with knight g5 ideas here, and that is actually the best according to the engine. It just popped up. So I'm glad that I evaluated this correctly. I didn't play fast, buddy, as much as you're trying to be smart. I calculated incorrectly. Because I calculated this. I wanted to make it work. And I just couldn't. And hence bishop d3, which was a blunder. And apparently after takes, which is what I intended to do, black is doing fine here. Oh? Actually? Yeah, the machine is taking its time. But it seems to me that all moves appear to be advantageous to white. Yeah, basically I just have this long-term plan of doing this. If you go knight b4, I didn't think it was a good move because I thought I had e5 here. Which is where things get extremely chaotic. And believe it or not, but the engine recommends here rook fc8. Which is quite beautiful if it's true. And then if I take this, then I reckon just bishop takes back and the king can walk to e7 and it's perfectly safe. Wow! Look at that. Cold-blooded defense by the engine. And now there is a bucket load of tension piling up on me on the C file. It's really uncomfortable. Really, really uncomfortable. Yeah, this is a remarkably beautiful example of how attack and defense overlap and can change from one to the other. So yeah, you played buddy here e5, and that was an instant move. Two, it was a blunder, I thought. Although my response appears to be disapproved by the engine. The engine still prefers bishop takes h6 rather than the move I played. Which frankly is nothing short of confusing to me, because take. The engine wants knight b4, bishop takes e7, rook fc8. Wow. Now this did not occur to me at all. It's a beautiful counter piece sack. And now I am facing the threat of knight takes d3 followed by mate on c2. So I thought when I saw this idea popping up that my most natural defense here would be queen f2. But then black has knight takes d3, rook takes d3, bishop f5, hitting the rook, hitting the bishop. And I'm even losing there. Knight e1 is only move, ladies and gentlemen. Only move. And white is winning, but it's still a bit of a technical challenge, I suppose, to convert this. Wow, that was very fascinating. And yes, after bishop takes g5, I think it was all over Red Rover. Although, to be fair, I actually missed a lot in this game. I mean, the blunder here with knight b4 was awful, but I thought that this was already resignable. And actually, that's not the case. I overlooked the fact that after knight e7, pawn takes h6, knight f5 is quite annoying, because if I trade into it, I then don't have queen g5 to round it off, because there is mate on c2. So I need to play queen e4. Knight takes h6. No, sorry. G6. Knight h6, queen h7 mate. Beautiful analysis there, coach. Well done. So g6 first. G4. Then knight takes h6. And now I suppose I have got a few choices. Maybe just pawn h3 to cover the pawn, or rook g1. And that knight is absolutely tragic. I mean, yeah, this is a winning position for white, but this game still needs to be won. It's still a game where I need to come up with some goods to actually convert it. Now, last but not least, I'm curious if I missed any forced wins here, because I felt like I was dropping the ball here a little bit. Well done, Yasu, if you saw all of that. Queen h6 was best. I'm proud of that. Rook c8. I played rook d2. It's okay. The engine likes rook f1. Yeah, maybe, I guess it wants to then play a rook f2 at times. Okay, rook d2, a4, a3. Yeah, best. Okay, b5, h4 is excellent. Rook e1 is the engine's favorite move. I overlooked this idea. That's pretty neat. That is very neat. I missed that altogether. Yeah, fair enough. I missed that. H4, B4. No, bishop G4 was played. Yep. H5 takes. And apparently it's made in 14 here. So I did miss something. Yes, okay. So here we needed to go check. King F8, check. Hardly a surprise, by the way, that this is the forced win. Queen F6, check. Let's say King E8, and I'm guessing it's gonna be G6. I mean, Bishop B5 is also completely carnagey. Was Queen F6 the wrong check here? I don't have any other checks. Why is the engine thinking? Yeah, it has to be Queen F6 check. And then, yeah, it's force mate. But I don't really mind that I didn't do this because I thought that the move I played was also perfectly fine. And it was easier to navigate this position in the limited time trouble situation. And yeah, this is just complete carnage now. And that was the end of it. Well, folks, you saw another side of me today because it wasn't as pretty as I would have liked to make it. It wasn't as pretty. Shout out to Hot Shots Jelly, aka Fat Belly Matt Kelly, for volunteering for this game so that I can have a few higher rated games in the Inside My Head series as well. And now that he's actually listening, I will repeat that, buddy, you should be playing, in my opinion, a Sicilian that is a little bit more on the aggressive side. On that note, we are going to call off the second of the 5-episode series sponsored by Mo. Ladies and gents, please don't forget to sub, to comment, to smash the like button, and super thank me if you can. And I will see you in the next one soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.